You're listening to Bedroom Beethovens, where notable music makers break down stories accompanied by songs and melodies documenting growth through their 10,000-hour journey. And me? Well, my name is Cello, your host.
I am a bedroom Beethoven.
Welcome, people of Earth, to episode 143 of the podcast. My guest this week is...
It's the Krum. Are you him? Yes, it's Krum. I'm a hip-hop artist, producer from Dallas, Texas. I've done work with Deep Space 5, Gifted Gab, Homeboy Sandman, Tanya Morgan, Mr. Dibbs and the Black Keys, Oh No. I could keep going and going, but I'm dope.
Try to tell her she don't need me, whether whole in part or completely. She don't believe me, took it hard but we made it look easy. Rockabye, baby, hustle, bustle, and basic living. Guess we couldn't muscle through daily struggles of taking, giving. It's too much taking, no wonder. Too much taking the covers. We breaking up, interrupting, talking over each other. She was special. Now she's dropping teardrops in a bread bowl. Broke up in Panera. Pretty face with the running mascara. Please don't slow down on account of me. I ain't nobody, but I'm about to be. We might win, but we could lose. I thought that angels only brought good news.
Testing. The Dirty Angels Ride Tonight is a 4x6 paperback original story written by Krum. It's about $16, available on his Bandcamp. But here's where it gets good. It includes the lyrics from the album Dart. It's the first solo album he's ever had on vinyl. And each song on the album is from the perspective of a character in the story. Sonny Sandoval from POD's on there. Production staples like DJ Sean P, Theory Has It, and himself. Get low, fly high. Reward the ambitious. Recognize the hustle. But before we get into all that, bedroombeethovens.com is the website where you can see the episode archives. You can write a note to me. It'll arrive in my inbox. You can buy some merch. Or you can sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/bedroombeethovens. For only $1 or $2, you get early access to future episodes and my undying support. Everyone is on a grind. This is creatives helping creatives. The stories unfold, and you are along for the ride to witness the sweat equity that goes into the various levels of success that these people meet, including me. So how cool is that? Have a safe Halloween, everyone, and as we pass Devil's Night and get into some truly cold weather, bundle up, blessings up, and thanks for rocking with me for another week. Krum is on deck. Yeah, you know, it's weird timing too, because I picked up Far Cry 6 today, and you had some woes with Far Cry 5 with your work getting taken advantage of. I guess that's a light way of putting it.
Are you talking how my song got ripped off?
Well, here's the thing. It's so on the nose because the band that took your sample is called Oh the Larceny, and larceny means theft. And if you go to their band bio, they literally say, like our name suggests, Oh the Larceny is big, confident, rebellious, and will steal your shit in a heartbeat. That's like someone breaking into my car, and when they catch the guy, his name is Tommy the Carjacker. You know what I mean? If you fought this in court, it would be pretty open and shut.
I mean, I don't understand how there could be any other way to take it, but that's crazy. I didn't look into them that much, to see any of that info. That's wild, bro.
Yeah, it's right there. Did that sour you to the whole sync licensing as a whole? You don't even mess with it anymore?
No, I do. It's a good paycheck, and it's cool exposure depending on what you get. I got a really cool one this year. I got a song in that Netflix docuseries with Will Smith called Amend. So that was cool, man. So that was a good payday, and it's continuing to pay. And so I'm down with sync. It's just, I guess that's how the game goes. I tried to just not get too mad about it and just kind of chalk it up to like, well, how many times have I sampled somebody and I've never cleared it. So I don't know. You kind of reap what you sow. I figured maybe I just had it coming to me.
Well, here we are, 30 years after your Ford Escort was made. We've come full circle.
Yes, that's exactly right. Ode to my Escort.
They're bringing it back. China released photos of the 2021 Escort, and it's not exciting, but it's there. If the Ford Bronco can make a comeback, why not the Escort? It was
never exciting, bro, ever.
My dad owned the predecessor, the Ford Pinto. I have very early childhood memories of that car.
Same. We had the Pinto station wagon.
Yep.
With the wood grain on the side.
Oh yeah. It's interesting enough. I don't have any memories of actually driving inside the car, but I do remember it being parked outside my house.
I have some weird memories of it. Man, so it was like it's a station wagon, but it only had 2 doors, and so the doors were massive, right? And so I remember one morning we were leaving for school, and my mom is going to shut the huge door after all the kids got in the back. And our family cat tried to jump in the car right when we were leaving, and just she caught that thing in the door, bro. And it was so sad, man. It was like R.I.P. the family cat right in front of all the kids on the way to school. It was a sad day.
We might have been the only 2 people in Texas rocking the Ford Pinto. I like it.
That's real. Yeah.
Man, so back in the day, man, I was digging around. There's this thing called MTV's The Cut. You were on that, right?
I was, yeah.
Man, Eminem was on there. Exile and an 18-year-old Aloe Black saying that they met at a Denny's beatboxing, and Brian McKnight is the judge. Neo was on there, but he called himself Schaefer. Left Eye Lopez was the host. David Foster was a judge on that show too, who probably single-handedly the biggest hit maker in music. If it wasn't for Michael Jackson, I'd put him above Quincy Jones even. So from a networking point of view, I mean, the potential, right? It's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah. Like, and I don't even know some of the people that you had mentioned. I didn't even know they were on there. Like, so it was a lot, man. A lot. And then KRS-One was a judge on one of the shows. So that was real fly.
Tretch, Cisco. Yep. I mean, and that led to, did that directly lead to Up Rock Records so now you're on a label touring with POD and Switchfoot?
I'd say probably 2 years later is when the album finally came out, from the time we were on The Cut until, putting the record out. But yeah, that was the next step for sure. The next step was Up Rock, and they were a punk label, or at least like, heavy metal, and they had different kind of sides to what they did. So they were just starting. It was called Tooth and Nail. And then I think the hard rock side of it was called Solid State. And then they were just trying to kick off a hip hop side of things. They called it Up Rock. And yeah, we were like one of the first groups to get signed to Up Rock.
Yeah, I think Seeds of Abraham was on the Tribulation Force 2 mixtape with Sela, which was a song that was on POD's Brown album. So when I see Sonny Sandoval on this album, I get excited because I've interviewed him before. And I know you have these Southtown purists, but forget Jay-Z's The Blueprint, the real 9/11 album, The Satellite, and I'm going to die on that hill. I mean, there are songs on that album that are still culturally relevant. Youth of the Nation happened last week. We talked about this in Arlington last week when an 18-year-old came to school and shot up a bunch of kids.
They say one of them, identified as 18-year-old Timothy Simpkins, pulled out a gun.
And we do have a weapon that was recovered. It was recovered in the streets.
Remain on lockdown inside Timberview High School Wednesday morning. Parents waited outside, phones in hand.
I was reading, and the family came out, and I quote, the decision that he made, taking the gun, he was trying to protect himself. They said he was bullied and robbed twice at school. Like, that's an excuse for shooting up your schools.
My son even sent me 2 videos, I guess, of a fight that was going in there and another shot. We got gunshots going off, and to hear that and know that your kids are part of that, it's terrible.
So, I mean, Youth of the Nation came out 20 years ago, and it could have came out last month, and it still would have been fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big album for them, man. It was really cool to see them, kind of blow up like that.
We're just hoping for the best. We're hoping that there's no casualties and that all of our babies can come out of that school okay.
Maybe this kid was reaching out for love, or maybe for a moment he forgot who he was, or maybe this kid just wanted to be hugged. Whatever it was, I know it's because we are.
Because that song, I mean, that album had so many singles that just killed it, bro. And so to kind of know them and see the behind the scenes happening like right in front of your eyes, and like you see the label Buy Them All Tahoes and like just stuff that I felt so unattainable to me. But to be close enough to see it and then see them on SNL, like, yeah, it was real cool, man. They're the coolest dudes. And I mean, Sonny is so down to this day. Like he ain't never changed, man. He's a cool guy.
I know that was like 20 years ago, but did you kind of feel like, since you guys are on the same label, and I think Switchfoot had they had a single that was popping, did you think like, yeah, my meal tickets, I'm next? You know, I'm on the sideline watching POD blow up, I'm next.
Well, they got signed to Atlantic, so they were already in another stratosphere from where I was at. But it's funny you say that, because Sonny has always been so good to me that he was constantly having meetings with me and like talking about like what he could do for me. And you know, you get a lot of that talk in the industry, but yeah, I did think he was going to be some sort of a ticket to something, because he was riding for me so tough, and he always has been. But yeah, nothing materialized. I mean, they were blowing up so fast. I don't think he could handle anything but what was happening with POD.
I think being from California, maybe it was easier for them because, you know, we're both from Texas. So as you know, hip hop, it's usually it's a Southern thing. Port Arthur, Houston, Dallas is such a huge city, but you never hear much. You know, you never hear Erykah Badu big up Dallas. You know, Vanilla Ice is from Dallas. Post Malone is from Dallas. But you also have Fat Cats and Sivion and Freddie Bruno and yourself. But really, you'd think it would have a bigger scene given the size of the city.
Give me a balance off-road and I need a line in the song of the siren calling in Jupiter's raining diamonds. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the prize and the silver lining. The lion lay with the lamb and I landed in perfect timing. No splash for the lesson that's taught. Just 10% of first fruits that I suck at setting apart. I rock the fur coat on Mars, they let the temperature drop. Don't shoot the messenger for the message that the messenger shot. Bang! This a rock that I'm cocking back in a rubber band. Hotter than the Phoenix Sun, Tom Chambers and Thunder Dan.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, and all the artists in the city kind of always say that, you know, man, we gotta put on for the city. And one of the weird things that's a challenge locally is because, like you said, Dallas is so big that, I mean, there can just be stuff going on all over the city. And so like any sort of like unified anything has never really happened from the hip hop side of things. So you'll have like artists kind of pop out and do well. I will say, Bobby Sessions puts on for the city pretty tough. He got signed to Def Jam. He's still kind of coming up, but he's definitely making some big moves, and he reps Dallas pretty good.
When you're in the Dallas Observer as like a best local hip hop of said year, let's say 2011, 10 years ago, does it boost your visibility? Does it do anything for your career?
Man, I wish it did. I mean, it boosts visibility locally, which is awesome. It's always, you know, feels the best to get love at home. But I mean, I've always toured and, you know, worldwide is the thing. So it never really creates any opportunities outside of the city. So it's cool when you're in the city, you know, but especially during those times before COVID, like I wasn't home very often to really even take advantage of it. But, you know, you get cool shows and you get to play with big artists as they come through town if you're in town. So that's cool. But yeah, nothing major, just feels good.
Yeah, I went back to that article and there was an excerpt, you know, Paris, was it Pershun and Slim Gravy teamed up with super producer Picnic Time, and they took the city by storm. They had a successful South by Southwest. They opened for Wu-Tang and A Tribe Called Quest. Five Dog, they had a single produced by Black Milk. I know Black Milk. I know Five Dog. I know South by Southwest. I know who the Wu-Tang Clan is. But I don't know any super producers named Picnic Time or a rapper named Slim Gravy. But they got all of these looks. So breaking through that ceiling from Dallas, it has to be hard.
ADD is the name of that group. They were cool. They looked like they were going to do something, and then they kind of broke up before anything happened. So that was unfortunate because they were definitely getting some good looks, and the momentum was pretty next level. Like I haven't really seen that happen for an artist in Dallas like that. And they were in a situation where their manager also manages Black Milk. So I think that's how they had that connection. And she still does manage Black Milk. But yeah, they disbanded, man. I think there was some beef.
A lot of people from that area with that sound didn't make it. You know, rapper Seven Lock, if you remember him, he works as a corrections officer in California. Then there's Blake Knight, Vex the Vortex. I mean, he's a multimedia designer now. You know, the Dangle Brothers era. In fact, right before Satellite hit, I even found an old tape. It had Pigeon John on there, the phonetic composition. And it was this old CDR album printed out with Amazon on-demand services. So totally independent. You and Freddie Bruno on the boards. I mean, this is like true grassroots stuff.
And do show after show and the land that never ends. But yo, hey, I got to make it one time. And it all depends on God, a pen and a rhyme. And I'll take it in stride. Cause if I don't, I just get worried and let it eat on my inside. Then I can't have that like I know the rider. Even though I'm in the party and I'm right beside her. So
yeah, Fred's my man. He's still in Deep Space 5 with me. But we came up together. We came up teenagers rolling in his Cavalier, listening to all the hip hop that we could. And then yeah, we just, next logical step is just to keep rhyming together. And that's what we did. So yeah, that was that was my first like official, put it out there and let the world hear it. And it's still pretty good. Like it's, it kind of holds up. It definitely sounds dated at points. There's a lot of lyrical miracle, trying to impress with as crazy as we could get, trying to sound smarter than you are. But I'm proud of it. And it's opened a lot of doors. And there's still a lot of fans that still follow me today that I think they were introduced with that PC Tools album.
Yeah, back then your beats were crummy beats back then.
Yeah, they still are. They still. So when I do production, I do it under the name Harry Krum, Crummy Beats. So yeah, that's never changed, man. I've been on that from the jump.
Yeah, it's funny seeing your early work because journalists, they'll be like, your album's coming out and it's got production from a guy named Harry Krum. Like E-Rock Avalanche. There's a track like Words We Play, and it lists featuring you, produced by Harry Krum, written by Doug Krum. So it's splitting yourself into three separate entities means to the casual person, you're only getting a third of the credit because they don't know that you're all these people.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely come up with production to where like, I've produced since day one, but there's definitely people that are still surprised when they see that. They're like, I didn't know you'd produced. And I definitely think it's because of that. Like I've never really marketed myself as a big producer, and it's always kind of tucked kind of humbly in there wherever Harry Krum is somewhere.
And right after POD blew up, you had a son, right? Is he a junior? Because you're a junior, right?
I am a junior. He is not a junior. He got his own identity.
Well, to quote your book, the Dirty Angels write tonight, a king must build a greater kingdom than his fathers before him. Otherwise, what have we passed to your son but shame and half truths, right? So that presents two questions. Was the kingdom that you provided your son better than the one afforded you? And if so, when you pass down your wisdom, your hustle, your grind, and you take a step back and you're like, oh, he's 18 years old now. Is he kinder, smarter, stronger? Is he the Krum 2.0?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hope so, but I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a better human than me. That's for sure. I've definitely tried to make sure he sees the grind and the just handling business, just trying to TCB it, just take care of business. So if a problem presents itself, well, how am I going to solve it? Nothing to it but to do it. And you just dive in and do it. So, little lessons, just try to teach him everything I can. I made that commitment to him a long time ago and just told him, hey, I don't know a lot, but everything I know, I'm going to teach you. And I've tried to stay true to that. And he's a G. He's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, big ups on that. And this book, is it self-published?
It is, yeah. So I'm really, I don't have like big aspirations for it. Like I really just made it to pair with the album. So, I'm not distributing it. There's not even an e-version of it. It's just going to be the book. So people will buy the physical book from me as one of the packages to go along with the album. And then that's kind of it. You can get it from me and me alone.
But if you've been writing rhymes for the last 20 years, and if you wrote a book, you're obviously have ambitions of being a writer. It almost sounds like you're downplaying it. This is probably a dream that you've had in your head for like a decade, and it's finally tangible.
Man, not at all. I've never, ever had any itch to write a book, not even poetry. Like it's just not something that I ever thought about. I totally love good writing anywhere you can find it, music, movies, and print, whatever. I really appreciate good writing, but I haven't had any aspirations to do anything beyond music. I just had the idea, and I thought it was really cool. I actually had the idea reading the Bible with my son. We had our little Bible time, and he was reading the book of Psalms, and it just kind of clicked in my head. Because I was trying to break down to him, a little bit about Psalms. And I was like, okay, we can go to these other books in the Bible and we can learn about David's life just kind of as a story. And we hear the story of his life. But what's really cool about Psalms is as we're reading Psalms, we can see where David was at and the first person of how he feels and, whatever's going on in his head while he's in those situations that we learned about from these other books. And so I just was thinking about how cool that was. And I was like, man, I wonder if there's anything that I could do with that musically, or, what can I do? And then I just kind of had the idea like, well, maybe the story can be a book and I can do a story, and then I can make an album and the songs will be from the perspective of the characters in the story. But now it's kind of the first person of what they were going through, at least as told by me, So I thought it was cool. So I just decided to, one day I was like, I'm going to give this story a shot. And so I just went for it, and it got a lot of revisions, throughout the timing of as I started writing it to now. But I just thought it was something that's cool that nobody'd ever done. So I wanted to try it.
Yeah, you gave me a tall order. When we first talked, you're like, read the book, listen to the album. So the original ask, I almost felt obligated. I'm not going to lie to you, but 5 pages in, I was hooked. And I'll tell you why. It's a real book. It's not a graphic novel, which is what most rappers will kind of do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Pharoah Monch just did that. Nothing wrong with it. But it's a real book. The descriptions, the descriptors, you paint a whole world. I was with the king when he was with his wife in the kingdom. I was with him in the slum village with the farmers. I was with him in the mud when his ring got stolen. I'm with him in the throne room with the cobwebs missing his queen. I mean, you're very excellent at storytelling and equally good at world building.
Man, thank you, dude. That's really cool to hear, because not very many people have read the book at this point, because like I said, I'm just shipping it out this week. So I've had, some homies and my mom and stuff like that. But that's cool. Thank you, man. Writing this was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. It's such a crazy feeling to write. Like music, I can say anything and it doesn't affect me at all. But like writing this book, man, I just felt so butt naked on the paper, man. Like it just felt exposed and just like vulnerable, and it's hard to describe. I'm sure other writers know what I'm talking about. But it's just such a weird feeling that it's cool to hear that you dug it. Thank you.
And it scares me as well, because it reminds me of the show Undercover Boss. You take away the royal ring, you dirty up my robes, my queen's not beside me, and you see how the underbelly of your community treats you. Smile and the world smiles with you, but weep and you weep alone. It's always a scary concept, and I think you handled it beautifully.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that way too. Like, kind of mentioned that in the book too at one point, where he just felt like a normal dude. Like, what's special about me now? So yeah, I feel that it is scary.
And I've self-published books before. I self-published a children's book. So let's say I sell a book for $10 on Amazon. I only got like $2.88 profit. It's a big chunk.
Yeah, man. I've had people tell me that. I looked into it a little bit, and that, and just some other factors were that's why I was like, man, I'm not even gonna make this available digitally. Like, this is just gonna be something for my fans. Just get it from me direct, and because and I think it's cool, and it's definitely the way that the music industry is set up. There's going to be so many more people that hear the music than actually read the book. So the challenge was trying to make the music where, it is what I said. It is the first person narrative of these characters in the story as told by me. But how's that going to work when somebody's never read the book and they're just listening to my album on Spotify? Is it still going to be something that they can just listen to and enjoy? So that was kind of a challenge to make sure that the music could stand on its own, even without the book. I hope I did it.
Well, it's new. If you read the story and then listen to the album, it's like a 3D experience. Like you said, no one's ever done it before. So there's no blueprint. Did you do it correctly? Are they going to get the most out of it? You kind of have to sit back and just wait for the reception to roll in.
Yeah, that's real. The most I've been able to try and do is at least tell people, hey, I wrote it, or I guess this whole concept is designed around reading the book first, then listening to the music. And I can't force anybody to do that, but I've at least tried to put that out there enough without being annoying about it. So hopefully people do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask how, because let me ask you, if you post about it on Instagram, I expect Theory has it to leave a flame emoji and say he'll read it, and he will. But how are you going to capture Josh from Arkansas or Julie from Florida's attention? Meaning it's hard enough to market one's music, but now you have an extra ask. You may not know me as an author, but buy my book, buy my album, and get this experience. I mean, that's a heavy hill to climb for someone who's not already an existing fan of yours.
Yeah, it is big time. I really don't know the answer to that. I'm kind of making it up as I go. I feel like I've put out enough music to where I kind of understand how to market music. I have no idea how to market a book. The most I've done is just tried to tell people about it. I've tried to do interviews where I can, because, especially on social media, like to go into the whole concept of it is just so much to type. I just think it's easier to do interviews where I can talk about it and go into a little more detail. And then, I just like posted the first page of the book on my Instagram and my Twitter, just to like a little preview. Like, I don't know what to do, man. So if you got any suggestions, let me know.
I think the best thing I could do for my platform is just anything that we didn't cover. I want to give you the floor to tell people about why they should get it.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's like I said, I tried to write it well. If you like good writing, I think it's there. I think the writing is there. And I think it's a cool story. And I think it's there's levels to it. I think if you're a fan of stuff like, the Twilight Zone, or just stuff that like really gets your brain kind of going, it's not something to just read and be entertained. I hope there's another level to it of like metaphors and some meanings that you'll get out of it. And even, that quote that you had mentioned about a king passing something on to their son, like there's just little nuggets in it like that I tried to kind of be a little profound with. And then if you add it to the music, like you had mentioned, I mean, hopefully that's like a 3D experience, and it's just something new, So if you like art and arty things, and like to think about things and kind of break stuff down and wonder the meaning, and if you're that type of person where after you watch a movie, you immediately get on Google and what did this movie mean at the end, and stuff like that. Like, I think this is in that vein.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were kind of wrestling with your mortality. I mean, like Gift of Gab died earlier this year, and he was maybe 5 years older than you. So I didn't know if that was something that you were dealing with as well.
I don't worry about that too much. I mean, there's, unfortunately, the older you get, there's a lot more death that surrounds you. So it's, you got to kind of deal with it. But I would say, I'm a God-fearing dude. I feel good about death. I don't worry about it too much.
There you go, man. I got one last question. It's probably going to be the hardest one I'm going to ask you. Have you watched the Karate Kid reboot? And if you have, does Elizabeth Shue still got it?
Man, yeah. And yes, Elizabeth Shue all day, man. Even in she was in what's it called? The Guys on Amazon. Yeah, full respect to her, man. She is yeah. One love. One love.
All right, Krum, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, boss, for being here. Texas all day, of course.
Yeah, Texas represent, man. Thanks for having me on, bro.